in the ancient city of Mashhad, where the golden dome of Imam Riza's shrine pierced the sky like a beacon of faith, a boy named Mojtaba Khamenei was born on September 8, 1969. The air was thick with the scent of saffron and rosewater, vendors hawking their wares in the bustling bazaars, while whispers of discontent rippled through the streets. Iran, under the iron grip of Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, was a land of opulent palaces and simmering rebellion. Mojtaba's father, Ali Khamenei, a young cleric with a fierce gaze and unyielding principles, was already a thorn in the regime's side. Ali had been arrested multiple times by Savak, the Shah's dreaded secret police, for his sermons that decried the monarchy's corruption and Western influences. Mojtaba's earliest memories were fragments of chaos and devotion. He recalled the winter of 1975, when Savak agents stormed their modest home in the dead of night. The boy, barely 6, huddled with his siblings, his older brother Mustafa, and younger ones Masood and Maysam, as shouts echoed through the rooms. His father was dragged away, beaten before their eyes. Yet Ali insisted the children be told the truth. This is not a vacation. This is the price of justice. Mojtaba's mother, a quiet pillar of strength, gathered them close, reciting verses from the Quran to soothe their fears. Those nights forged in him a resilience that would define his life, a blend of piety and defiance. As the 1970s wore on, the Khamenei family became nomads of sorts, evading the Shah's watchful eyes. Ali's exile in 1976 took them to remote villages, where Mojtaba learned the art of survival. He watched his father preach in hidden gatherings, his words igniting sparks in the hearts of the oppressed. The Shah's throne is built on sand, Ali would say, and the winds of revolution will sweep it away. Mojtaba, with his wide eyes and curious mind, absorbed these lessons like a sponge. He played in the dusty alleys, dreaming of a Iran reborn under Islamic rule, free from the decadence of the West. The revolution erupted in 1979, a torrent of protests and bloodshed that toppled the Shah. Mojtaba, now 10, stood amid the crowds in Tehran, where the family had relocated after the victory. The air buzzed with chants of Allahu Akbar, and portraits of Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini adorned every wall. Ali Khamenei rose swiftly in the new Islamic Republic, Deputy Defense Minister, then President. But for young Mojtaba, the revolution was personal. He saw his father's transformation from outlaw to statesman, and it planted in him a seed of ambition. One day, he whispered to himself, I will carry this flame. The family settled in Tehran, a city of contrasts. Modern high-rises shadowed by ancient mosques. Mojtaba enrolled in the elite Alavi High School, a bastion for the regime's future leaders. Here, he received a dual education, secular subjects alongside rigorous religious studies. His classmates included sons of revolutionaries, and friendships formed that would later weave into a web of power. But Mojtaba was no ordinary student. He was introspective, preferring the quiet of prayer over the clamor of youth. Teachers noted his sharp intellect and unwavering faith, qualities inherited from his father. Then came the war. In 1980, Saddam Hussein's Iraq invaded Iran, unleashing 8 years of horror. Mojtaba, at 17, graduated from Alavi in 1987 and immediately joined the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC. The front lines were a crucible of fire and faith. Assigned to the Habib ibn Mazahir Battalion, he fought in the trenches of southern Iran, where chemical attacks choked the air and artillery shells rained like judgment from above. One fateful day, amid a brutal assault near Basra, shrapnel tore into his leg, leaving him wounded and scarred. As he lay in the mud, blood soaking his uniform, he prayed not for survival, but for victory. "Ya Allah," he murmured, "let me serve your cause." The injury ended his frontline service, but it deepened his bonds with fellow guardsmen, many of whom would rise to command the IRGC's intelligence wings. Back in Tehran, Mojtaba turned to the seminaries of Qom, the heart of Shia scholarship. Under the tutelage of Grand Ayatollahs, he delved into jurisprudence, theology, and the intricacies of Velayat-e Faqih, the guardianship of the Islamic jurist, Khomeini's revolutionary doctrine. Com was a world of ancient texts and heated debates, where clerics in black turbans parsed the Quran's meanings. Mojtaba excelled, earning the rank of Hojat al-Islam, a mid-level cleric, but his eyes were set higher. In 1989, the world shifted again. Ayatollah Khamenei died, and Ali Khamenei was elevated to supreme leader, a surprise to many. As he was not yet a full Ayatollah, Mojtaba, now 20, stepped into his father's shadow, becoming a confidant and aide in the office of the supreme leader. He was like Ahmed Khamenei to his father Ruhollah, a gatekeeper, advisor, and silent enforcer. From the opulent Baiti Rabri compound, Mojtaba managed access to Ali, filtering petitions and whispers from the elite. As the 1990s unfolded, Iran navigated post-war reconstruction and reformist stirrings. Mojtaba, ever vigilant, cultivated ties with the Boniads, vast charitable foundations controlling billions in assets seized from the Shah. These economic empires funded everything from hospitals to militias, and Mojtaba's influence grew. He married into power, wedding the daughter of a prominent cleric, strengthening familial alliances. But it was in the shadows of security that Mojtaba truly thrived. By 2005, he had maneuvered into control of the Basij militia, the volunteer paramilitary force loyal to the supreme leader. The Basij, with their motorcycles and batons, became his instrument during the 2009 Green Movement protests, when millions took to the streets contesting Mahmoud Ahmadinejad's re-election. Mojtaba orchestrated the crackdown. The revolution must not falter, he told IRGC commanders in secret meetings. Reports of his role filtered out, whispers of a shadow Ayatollah pulling strings from behind the throne. The 2010s brought nuclear tensions and economic sanctions. Mojtaba advised his father on foreign policy, advocating hard lines against the West. He deepened alliances with proxy forces like Hezbollah and the Houthis, viewing them as extensions of Iran's revolutionary export. Domestically, he quelled unrest, from the 2017 economic protests to the 2019 fuel riots. His network within the IRGC intelligence grew ironclad, earning him both fear and respect. Yet, Mojtaba remained enigmatic. Few photos existed. He shunned interviews and public speeches. In Com, he taught advanced seminars, inching toward Ayatollah status by 2022. Analysts speculated on succession. Would it be Mojtaba or another? His brothers stayed in the background. Mustafa a cleric, Masood and Mason less involved. Mojtaba's path seemed ordained. The 2022 woman, life, freedom protests tested him. Sparked by Mahsa Amini's death in custody, they shook the regime. Mojtaba coordinated the response, deploying Basij to crush demonstrations. These are agents of Zionism, he declared in closed circles. The crackdown was brutal, but it preserved the system at a cost. His succession prospects dimmed amid accusations of dynastic rule. Then came the cataclysm of 2026. Escalating conflicts with Israel and the US culminated in strikes on Iranian soil. On February 28, a precision attack on the Supreme Leader's compound in Tehran killed Ali Khamenei. The nation reeled. Mojtaba, grieving yet resolute, rallied the faithful. "My father's martyrdom fuels our jihad," he said in his first public address. The Assembly of Experts convened amid wartime chaos. On March 3rd, they elected Mojtaba as the third supreme leader, the first dynastic succession in the Republic's history. At 56, he ascended, blending his father's hawkishness with his own shadowy pragmatism. Critics decried nepotism. Supporters hailed continuity. As supreme leader, Mojtaba faced a fractured Iran. The war raged missile exchanges with Israel, proxy battles in Syria and Yemen. He mobilized the IRGC, vowing vengeance. The Zionist entity will crumble. He proclaimed from the Friday prayer podium in Tehran. Domestically, he tightened controls, purging reformists and bolstering the morality police. In private, Mojtaba reflected on his journey from the boy in Mashhad to the guardian of the revolution. He walked the gardens of Baiti Rabri, Quran in hand, pondering the future. The path is long, he mused, but faith lights the way. Under his rule, Iran pursued nuclear ambitions aggressively, defying sanctions. Alliances with Russia and China deepened, forming an axis against Western hegemony. Protests simmered, but Mojtaba's Basij quashed them swiftly. He reformed the economy, channeling Bonyad wealth into military tech, drones, cyber warfare. One evening, as sirens wailed over Tehran, Mojtaba addressed the nation. "We are the heirs of Kabbalah," he said, invoking Imam Hussein's martyrdom. "Our enemies strike, but we endure." His personal life remained veiled. Married with children, he lived ascetically, devoted to prayer and strategy. Rumors swirled of his health. The old war wound, aching in cold nights, but he projected strength. As months passed, Mojtaba's Iran evolved. He negotiated ceasefires, rebuilt struck sites, and inspired youth with tales of resistance. Yet, shadows lingered, whispers of dissent, fears of escalation. In Qom, he taught again, mentoring the next generation. "The Vilayat is eternal," he lectured. Students hung on his words, seeing in him the revolution's unbroken chain. Years into his leadership, Mojtaba looked back. From revolution's child to supreme guardian. His story was Iran's triumph amid trial. And as the shrine in Mashhad gleamed under the stars, he knew the flame burned on.